Hey, my name's Shohei, and this is Minecraft Worldbuilding, where we're building a world with lore. I've been watching a lot of Hermitcraft recently, and I've been enjoying how a lot of the hermits have been taking a more relaxed approach to the game. One of them being fishing, which has been quite an underrated mechanic for some time now. I actually enjoy fishing in a lot of video games. It was my second 99 on my first RuneScape account, actually. Now, I know I just got started with this fairy city here, but we're actually gonna head west to make our first village. A quaint fairy fishing village, to be exact. I've been ramping up my efforts to get diamond gear, so I'm actually in the market to get a few enchanted books, and I thought a fun way to get them might be trying to fish for a few. Now, I'm not gonna go full-blown craze mode like Grian, just some casual fishing to get some little treasures and trinkets. Things like nautilus shells will actually be very beneficial when I get our aquatic race later down the line. But as always, it's time to whip out our lore book. Fairies live in a clan-based society bound by familial ties and ancient traditions. While most fairy clans are self-isolated into their own villages, occasionally clans will band together through alliances, creating small fairy cities. So, as we mentioned, fairies follow a clan-based society, so we'll have things like Clan Tinkerbell and whatnot. Okay, not actually Clan Tinkerbell, but I think you get the point. So, for this episode, we'll be creating a small village that houses a fairy fishing clan, and it'll be taking place on top of the river. Anyways, here we are on our world map. We're actually going to be heading west over here to make our little fishing village in this corner of the river. Now, I do have a little dilemma at the moment because I have to collect some materials specifically for this build. It's actually just one thing. I need lily pads, which means I have to go to a swamp, and we are on quite a massive map. Hopping into the creative copy of our world, here is the full map that we're tending to build in. It's quite massive. There's two swamps near me, quote, near me. One of them is all the way up here, which is just a regular swamp. That's a few thousand block travel. And then we also have a mangrove swamp right here, which is super far away. But if I do go down here, I can actually knock out of a lot of different materials. I can actually get, mangrove wood for the future, mud, propagules, all that stuff, all that good stuff. But the travel is atrocious. So actually one way to get to the mangrove swamp and reduce our travel time is to actually go into the nether, go to the nether roof and travel the distance that way. Since it's flat, it should be a lot quicker. Also, it's 8 times faster than it is traveling in the overworld. The only thing is I don't have an ender pearl to actually get onto the nether roof. I've been kind of looking around for an enderman and I haven't seen any. I've seen some previously and I didn't kill them, which I now regret. So I'm thinking we'll probably just travel to the swamp that's up here instead, because I don't think I want to travel like 10,000 blocks just to go to the mangrove swamp. So yeah, let's just take that journey real quick, and for you it'll be quick, but for me, getting there is gonna take like an hour. I left my little horse over here, and I'm gonna collect a bunch of lily pads and actually probably some of those flowers. I completely forgot frogs were a thing. And I'm gonna be camping out here waiting for a little while because I really want to collect some of these frogs. And I think what I need to do is I need some frog spawn, and then I need a bucket, unfortunately. Aren't they supposed to enter love mode? Yeah, so I gotta wait for the frog spawn or the frog eggs to hatch, and then I gotta scoop it up. But I think we might as well wait it out since we've traveled this far. I mean, yeah. Finally hatched. Oh yeah. Bucket. Oh, he looks, look how cute he is in the little bucket. And we're back. I think it was a pretty successful trip. I actually got a few more things than I was planning on getting. I completely forgot about a few things that's found in the swamp. But here's our load. We got a ton of lily pads. Should be enough for what I'm doing. Collected some fern and some blue orchids, which only spawn in the swamp, I believe. While I was waiting for these buckets of tadpole, or the tadpole to, hatch, I killed some slime. I kind of wish I got a little more. Hopefully I can find a spawn chunk somewhere close to me instead of having to travel all the way over there. But it's pretty good for, for just a little bit. Their slime balls are used for the tadpoles, so we'll be using them to breed and also to make some sticky pistons potentially for some farms later on. Collected some clay balls while I was there, found a depth strider book randomly and a hay bale. But anyways, we're gonna gather a few resources that we have, and we're gonna start heading over to our little fishing spot where we'll be building a little fishing village. Here we are. I set up a little rink-dink little station here for me to kind of settle down for now as we build. But here's our build location. It's not too far away from the city, and it's located right on this riverbend here. The river kind of ends here, so I think it kind of makes sense to have a little village right here, lore-wise. Not many people would be able to venture this far into the Sylvan Wilds by now. There's also this village already built in the east. I want to incorporate a lot of the pre-generated villages into this world, but I'm not sure about this area specifically, since it's supposed to be the Sylvan Frontier, which is supposed to be a very wild area for the fairies, and there's beasts and whatnot, so it wouldn't really make any sense for there to be other civilizations in this area. But in the future, I want to incorporate the pre-generated villages, kind of make them points of interest as you travel throughout the world. Also, a nice thing building in this area instead of the east is that it's heading west, which is going to be where we're heading for other civilizations. So we'll be able to kind of go from this fairy village, or this fairy city, and kind of travel, hit this fairy village, and make little points of interest as we venture throughout the world. I'll probably be using the nether to get around a bit, but I think it's a nice little touch to be able to traverse the world on foot or by horse and come across different villages or cities. Anyways, that's enough talking for now. It's time to get building. And so first we're going to lay down the foundation. The foundation is going to be lily pads. Oh yeah. Alright, so we laid down the foundation of the fairy village, which are these floating lily pads I made out of dirt, wool, and moss. Let's just hop into Freak Cam real quick, kind of show you what's going on. Got quite a little variety of lily pads facing all different directions. Ignore these little dirt patches. I was originally making these little dirt pathways as the indentations to signify the stem of the lily pad, but I'm putting structures on top of some of the lily pads, so it's kind of pointless to kind of do all this stuff right here. We also connected all the giant lily pads with these regular lily pads to create little pathways to get to the other structures without having to swim. Honestly, I wanted to make the pathways a little more diverse with different blocks, but there's not too many blocks that float on water. Now, I don't think fairies would really need to walk that often regardless, given that they'd be able to fly between the lily pads. But, I don't know. Maybe they don't want to fly sometimes and they're tired. But for my ease of access, at least, these you know, make things a lot easier. I don't have to swim across them all the time. And with the lily pads done, we move on to the next phase, which is lodging, the actual village part of this build. And what would lily pads be without some beautiful lotus flowers? Lotus flowers come in a variety of colors, but not the colors we can really recreate in Minecraft. So for this build palette, we're using birch for the base and a bunch of pink blocks like cherry planks and pink wool to build the flower. Other options you could do if you're kind of interested in, you know, testing this out yourself, maybe crimson or warped wood. Those are like the only other colorful woods, but in my opinion, it didn't really work out that well. So that's why we're sticking to these little pink cherry ones. Anyways, let's go. We got absolutely decimated by a drowned with a trident as I was building this. He killed me, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Died 9 times to 1 drowned with a trident. I had to like keep jumping into the water and smacking it with my fist in order to finally kill it. Kind of delayed the build, but hey, we're all done. Here is the top view of the village through the map. I'm not gonna lie, I love this build. This is nowhere near my typical build style, but I've been having a lot of fun thinking of fun ideas and working with the organics. So the idea comes from these giant lily pad parks you can find in places like Thailand and Taiwan, where you can actually sit on top of some giant lily pads and they can support your weight. I then combined the idea with a floating fishing village you may find in parts of Southeast Asia and took a little ferry spin to it. It was kind of hard to get the shapes down for the flowers because we're building relatively small scale for these, but I think they turned out pretty good. From the top though, they're very square. This one looks pretty good, but for this one, for example, you can see the square outline. This major big one, you can see the square outline, but you know, just can't stare at it too hard from the top. Anyways, it's time for the tour and lore section of this video. Here we have Lotus Village, which houses the Pescare Clan. It literally means Italian for fish. Yeah, very original, I know. But let's just hop into free cam real quick and we'll take a look at the village. So we've got this little fishing village here. Here it is with no shaders. Here it is with shaders. Oh my. I upped the saturation of the water so that's really blue. I don't know if I really like it, but you know, let me know your thoughts. But basically we've got these little huts made out of lotus flowers that you can find on lily pads. All of the lotus flowers themselves are slightly different from each other. This one looks like this. So very, very subtle variations like this little petal right here. And here you go. Got some petals facing downwards, some petals facing upwards. And here we have a little lotus flower bud. When the population of the clan grows, they'll convert this budding lotus flower into a cottage when it comes full bloom. Lore-wise, we have an element-based magic system like Avatar: The Last Airbender, and fairies are masters of wood magic. For me, wood magic is less so the ability of controlling wood and more so plant affinity, so they can control plant life and not just wood. So basically, fairies can help cultivate plants with their magic and help them grow faster and larger than normal. So that's gonna be the lore reason why we can explain them living in these, lotus flowers and other organic builds later on in the future. Taking a look at the interiors, the interiors are very basic right now because I don't have a lot of interior, decorating items. But here we got our resident fairy, a little bee. I don't know why its animation is stopped like that. I would punch it. Look at that little stinger. But yeah, this is a small home. They're supposed to resemble kind of the scale of villages, the pre-generated villages in Minecraft. So I said earlier that my plan is to use the pre-generated villages in Minecraft as other little villages for my world, just to add a little more life and something that I don't have to, build too many at the same time. But we got a little tiny little desk for them and a little bed and a little flower. I said earlier, but one thing I really wanted to do was diversify the pathways here, but there's not really any blocks that float on the water. The only thing I can think of is putting glass panes, like blue glass panes right here, like for replacing a lotus pad, for example, and you can kind of walk across it. If it was a shallow river or anything like that, you can use stone or cobblestone walls and stuff like that, but we don't really have that for this. And here we have a diagonal lily pad where they come to smoke their fish. It's a little farther out on the village so that the smell doesn't kind of hit them in their village. But here we got tiny little smokers. They're very basic designs, but yeah, look at some fish right there smoking up. They're very, very simple, but they're I use dirt here just to say it's not gonna catch on fire. Here's another little lotus cottage. It's not much different, but you can see we use birch planks, and we used a bunch of pink stuff like the cherry wood and the cherry planks. And then we've got yellow wool, birch fence, and some yellow candles to mimic the place where bees gather their nectar from. This one's empty inside, so we'll have to run to another cottage to get a bed. And another cottage here. This one's empty as well. I did not decorate it. I'll decorate it later. But each little cottage has its own little fishing dock as well, fishing pier, where you can kind of throw out your rod. And we've got a little container here holding a salmon that the fisherman already caught. That lotus has nothing. It's a very tiny one, just to kind of add some more diversity to the field. And this lily pad here is a developing lily pad. It's just got a little bench spot where you can kind of sit and enjoy the view, or you can just, throw out your fishing rod. Oh, but one cool building tip you can do for little ponds or rivers is you can add moss carpet or green carpet or even lime carpet on top of water, and you can have it mimic algae. So the way you do it is you kind of grab a lily pad. Here, you grab a lily pad, plop it in the water, and then you can just add the carpet onto the side. But we don't have any more carpet. We used a ton of carpet to get these little algae patches. Just gonna hop into free cam real quick, but as you see, look, a little patch of algae. And this patch of algae was kind of disrupted by this little boat coming in. But let's come explore this big build. This is the centerpiece of the build. And here we have the main fishing dock, which doubles as a pier for small fishing vessels or small boats in general. This boat here is supposed to be a bunch of twigs that are kind of strung together and held together by vine or rope, which we use these rails to mimic because there's not really any other block for that. And then we have a leaf as the sail. There's the leaf. I'm not sure it really captures the essence of a leaf, but I think for a small scale, this is kind of the best you can do. But we use a little bit of jungle stairs or oak stairs here to mimic the little stem part of a leaf that you find in the middle. But the boat is very simple. It's a very crude vessel because fairies are not the best builders. They kind of just throw things together or they repurpose things. So here we got a little section for them to, you know, catch their fish and throw it on. Got a little chest for the fish as well. And we just had to throw a little bit of decoration because we don't have many blocks, but a little pot right here might have some salt to salt the fish, to preserve them. And here we have the main hut or cottage. This cottage is quite a bit larger than the others because it's the clan leader's hut, which would house the Pescare Clan leader and his family. This would also be where they hold meetings and gatherings, and there's a sign calling it Lotus Village to tell everyone, hey, don't mess with us. But these small organic builds are honestly a hassle to make because you need to use a lot of these slabs. So you need to do a lot of slab placing and slab breaking in order to get these small shapes. I also used some signs here to kind of accentuate the little curvature of the flower. But yeah, so you gotta place a lot of blocks. Like this one's just kind of a free floating bottom slab. So, you know, you kind of have to, and this one like free floating bottom slab. So you gotta connect things, place these blocks, and then break them to, you know, get the good look. Let's just go inside now and see the interior. The interior is very barren, or not that barren, but it's very simple. Little shelf, little desk per usual, little bed, and some place to store your stuff. And then we have a little skylight here with some yellow glass. I thought it was a nice way to add some light into here without having to add too many torches and whatnot. In case anyone wanted a closer look at the main hut here, we've got a bunch of different petals. Got the bottom layer petals that kind of go up or down. There you go. And so we use these signs to help kind of accentuate the actual curvature of the petal. And then we've got some smaller petals coming out as well on all four sides. We use these trapdoors to help kind of show a little drooping effect, as you can see. Then we've got the top petals, which, you know, kind of go on all four corners and then all four sides as well. And then you've got the little nectar area where they get the nectar, where bees would get nectar. And also to get some lighting into the village, we use these bunch of different trapdoors and put a lantern on top. I kind of feel like it somewhat mimics like maybe a tiny flower. Not really, but I think you got to work with what you got. And then here we've got a bunch of algae patches. Like I said, this one I put a little moss block right here till I can put some petals on top. Algae is actually not that great sometimes, especially if it's an algae bloom on rivers. Just a little environmental info there. But, you know, I think it looks kind of cool. It adds a little more, you know, interest to the village. Well, that's all the time we have for this episode. I got 100 subscribers last video, and somehow it's doubled past that since then. So I do appreciate all the love and support. Please leave a like and let me know your thoughts and ideas. I'd love to incorporate some of your ideas into the world if I can. I already have a handful of builds planned out for future episodes, but I'm always open to suggestions. My name's Shohi, and this is Minecraft Worldbuilding. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye now.